He drank from an ancient cave pool. A whisper from behind, "You accidentally sold your life." Nathan Cole pushed through the glowing purple forest on Kheles, his boots sinking into the soft moss as plasma bolts zipped past, scorching leaves and trunks. He carried the injured villager over his shoulder, the man's green skin paling from blood loss, while the ambush raged around them. Rogue skirmishers had outnumbered his alliance team 3-1, turning the extraterrestrial battlefield into chaos. Explosions lit up the dark canopy overhead, and Nathan dropped to one knee behind a fallen log to set the villager down. He pulled out his med kit, injecting a stabilizer quickly. "Hold on, just hold on," he muttered, the air thick with ozone and charred wood, as shouts from his comrades mixed with the crackle of return fire. The skirmishers pressed in, their weapons humming with fresh charges, forcing Nathan to scan for better cover amid the glowing trees. A direct energy bolt tore through his side, then hot pain flared as blood soaked his medical uniform. He clutched the wound, vision swimming, and staggered forward only to feel the ground give way beneath him. Plummeting into Kheles Canyon, a 300-meter drop, he bounced off outcrops and vines that whipped his face, mist rising from below to cushion the final slam onto a ledge. Breath knocked out, pain radiating everywhere, he rolled onto his back and stared at the wheeling stars through the haze. Blood pooled under him, slick on his hand as he pressed the gash. But his kit was gone, lost in the fall. No bandages, no painkillers. Crawling forward on instinct, he followed a faint, iridescent glow deeper into the cave at the canyon's bottom, his breathing coming shallow and vision blurring at the edges. He reached the shimmering lake, the Aegis Well, where the water pulsed with otherworldly light, reflecting the bioluminescent fungi on the walls in dances of blue and green. Desperate, Nathan cupped his hands, dipped them in the cool, almost alive liquid, and drank deeply. A surge hit him immediately, tingles spreading from his throat down his limbs as the wound knit shut, skin pulling tight and pain fading to nothing. Strength flooded back. He sat up, flexed his fingers, and marveled at the seamless healing. Footsteps echoed softly from the shadows, and Nathan turned to see a figure emerge. Lyra Sera, with her green skin gleaming under the glow. Long silver hair framing a face set with piercing blue eyes. She wore light leather armor etched with ancient symbols, a spear resting easily in her grip. She confronted him with a stern gaze, her resonant voice cutting the air. "You've drunk from the well. The source demands a debt, one paid in blood, as our traditions hold." Nathan raised his hand slowly, still recovering. "Wait, I'm no threat here. I'm a healer from the Alliance, from the stars above. That water just saved my life, but blood. We can talk this through, figure something out." He glanced at his side, no scar remaining, the well's gift lingering like a mystery he needed to unpack. Science had to be behind it, maybe nanoparticles to work. Lyra's eyes narrowed as she uncoiled vine ropes from her belt and bound his wrists tight, her movements efficient and unyielding. "Talk comes later, before the council." She pulled him to his feet and started the escort upward, her sure steps guiding them along a hidden path where vines parted like curtains. Nathan followed, mind racing with the clash of his role as a doctor crashing into these old rites. A blood debt that sounded like myth, yet the healing felt real, advanced even. He kept quiet for now, watching her navigate the steep climb, though he slipped once and she caught his arm with a firm grip. "Move," she said. "No malice in it, just the weight of duty." Up in the foliage above the canyon, a villager scout crouched low, hidden among the leaves, having witnessed the outsiders fall into their sacred depths. Whispers stirred in his thoughts an omen, perhaps, or a threat to their hidden way of life. The forest concealing him as he signaled others silently, eyes tracking the warrior and her captive ascending. The climb steepened, Nathan's bound hands making it awkward. But Lyra prodded him forward toward the stone-carved village ahead, paths winding between structures lined with those glowing purple trees. The air grew thick with alien floral scents, earthy and harmonious, as villagers paused their tasks to stare at the bound outsider, with curious gazes on their green skins. Lyra led him straight to the heart, the circular council chamber lit by floating bioluminescent orbs, where elders sat in carved seats, their cloaks draped with glittering mineral carvings. She presented him firmly. Found at the well, he drank, so the debt is owed. An elder leaned forward, voice grave. Intruder, speak your purpose here. Nathan straightened as best he could, explaining the ambush, his fall, and the healing. I mean no harm. Let me prove it with what I know. Murmurs of debate filled the chamber, the blood debt ancient and unbreakable to some, but infections had ravaged the village lately, and his outsider knowledge tempted others. Lyra stood as his accuser, her voice laced with responsibility. I saw him healed by the source. Traditions protect us from threats like him. Reluctantly, the council agreed to a trial period, assigning Lyra to watch over him, her blue eyes reflecting deep skepticism as she warned, don't defy the source or it'll end badly. As night fell, Nathan rested in a simple stone shelter, the walls cool against his back, pondering the philosophical divide between empirical science and these rituals, his mind racing with ways to bridge it without sparking conflict. In the chamber after, the elders murmured among themselves, the starfarer's arrival stirring unease, prophecies of change that could unravel their fragile balance, whispers echoing in the orb-lit space. Nathan lay back on the mat, staring at the ceiling, plans forming slowly. Heal them first. Show another path, without the blood. Nathan followed Lyra through the narrow mountain paths, the glowing purple trees casting soft light on their winding route. The air carried a heavy scent of alien flora, sweet and earthy, mingling with the faint mineral tang of the stone-carved village ahead. His wrists chafed under the vine ropes, but he kept pace, noting the villagers' shelters carved into Kheles Mountain, their water channels gleaming faintly under bioluminescent vines. The people here had adapted harshly yet elegantly to this exoplanet, their lives woven into its rhythms. Lyra moved with purpose, her silver hair catching the glow as she glanced back, ensuring he didn't lag. Her blue eyes held steady skepticism, but Nathan sensed a flicker of curiosity beneath her duty-bound demeanor. They entered the village and heads turned. Green-skinned locals paused, tools in hand, their gazes a mix of wariness and wonder at the bound outsider. Lyra led him straight to the council chamber, a circular space carved deep into the mountain, lit by floating orbs that pulsed softly like captured stars. The ardent council waited, elders draped in cloaks adorned with mineral carvings that glittered in the dim light. Their faces, lined with age, carried the weight of tradition. One elder, her voice sharp as chipped stone, spoke first. Intruder, you stand before us. Why did you trespass on the sacred well? Nathan straightened, the ropes tight, but his voice calm. I'm Nathan Cole, a doctor from the Alliance. I fell into the canyon, wounded during an ambush. The well healed me. I didn't know your laws, but I'm here to help, not harm. His words hung in the air, met with murmurs. Lyra stepped forward, her tone firm but not cruel. I found him at the well, healed by its power. The debt is owed in blood, as the source demands. An elder with a braided beard leaned forward, recounting ancient tales in a low, rhythmic cadence. Stories of sacrifices that kept the well's power alive for generations. Each life given to balance a life saved. Nathan listened, his scientific mind wrestling with their dogma. He felt a pang of empathy for their devotion but frustration at the cost they accepted. Blood for healing? It clashed with everything he knew. Still, he held his tongue, sensing the room's tension. The council debated his fate, voices rising and falling. Some demanded immediate repayment, their hands gesturing to sacred carvings on the walls. Others hesitated, whispering of a recent infection spreading through the village, a threat their rituals hadn't stemmed. Nathan seized the opening. Let me prove my way. I've got medical tools, antiseptics, and biobandages. Healing doesn't need blood. Give me a chance to show you. He nudged his torn med kit with his boot, its contents still intact despite the fall. The elders exchanged glances, the air thick with doubt. Lyra's eyes narrowed, but she said nothing, her role as guard keeping her silent for now. After a long pause, the eldest woman nodded. A trial, then? But Lyra watches you. Defy the source, and you'll answer for it. Lyra unbound his hands, her fingers swift but careful, and led him to a stone shelter at the village's edge. The walls felt cool, the mat beneath him rough but clean. Night settled over Kheles, the purple forest glowing faintly beyond the shelter's opening. Nathan sat, his mind churning. Science versus ritual, a divide as old as the stars. He'd seen nanotech before, in Alliance labs, but nothing like the well. Could it be a biosystem, not magic? He needed to bridge this gap, to show them healing without sacrifice. His fingers traced the medkit's edge, grounding him as plans took shape. In the council chamber, the elders lingered, their murmurs heavy with unease. From their collective gaze, Nathan's arrival felt like a crack in their world. Prophecies whispered of outsiders bringing change, unraveling the delicate balance of their society. One elder clutched a mineral pendant, muttering of omens, while another stared at the orbs, wondering if the source itself had drawn this starfarer here. Lyra stood outside Nathan's shelter, her spear planted in the ground, her silhouette sharp against the glowing trees. She didn't trust him, not yet. His words about healing without blood echoed in her mind, stirring doubts she didn't voice. Her people had bled for the well, generation after generation. Could an outsider truly challenge that? She adjusted her armor, the symbols etched there, reminding her of her duty, to protect, to uphold, to question when needed. Nathan lay back, staring at the stone ceiling. The village slept, but he couldn't. He saw the faces of the sick, the children he glimpsed on the way in, their skin flushed with fever. He'd start there, prove his way, show them medicine could save without costing lives. The well's mystery tugged at him too. What powered it? Nanobiology, perhaps, is tied to the planet's core. He'd figure it out, piece by piece. Outside, the purple forest hummed softly, its light pulsing like a heartbeat. The village rested, but tension lingered, a quiet prelude to what was coming. Lyra shifted her stance, her eyes scanning the dark. Something told her this outsider would change everything. Whether for good or ruin, she couldn't yet say. Morning light filtered through the purple forest, casting dappled patterns on the stone paths as Nathan stepped out of his shelter, medkit slung over his shoulder. Lyra waited, her spear leaning against a nearby rock, her silver hair tied back, but her blue eyes still sharp with vigilance. The village stirred slowly, its people moving through their tasks, but many eyes followed Nathan as he headed toward the communal shelters where the sick were gathered. A cluster of children, their green skin flushed with fever, lay on woven mats under a carved overhang, their parents hovering with worried murmurs. Nathan knelt beside a girl, no older than 10, her breath shallow. He checked her pulse, then pulled out an antiseptic spray and biobandages from his kit. "This'll help," he said softly, his voice steady as he cleaned her arm and applied the bandage. Within minutes, her feverish flush began to fade. Lyra stood a few paces back, arms crossed, watching every move. Her tough exterior held firm, but when the girl's eyes fluttered open, clearer now, Lyra's posture softened just a fraction. "No blood," she said almost to herself, her voice low but tinged with something new. Curiosity, maybe doubt. Nathan glanced up, catching her gaze. "No blood needed. It's just biology. Microbes cause the fever. My tools stop them." He kept it simple, gesturing to the spray. "Think of it like cleaning a wound, but for tiny invaders you can't see." Lyra tilted her head, her fingers brushing the symbols on her armor, as if weighing his words against centuries of tradition. Villagers gathered in small knots around the shelters, their whispers growing as Nathan moved from one child to the next. A boy's cough eased after a dose of herbal syrup Nathan had mixed from local plants, cross-referenced with his scanner's biodata. The crowd's fear shifted, curiosity taking root. One mother clutched her healed son, her eyes darting between Nathan and the stone carvings of the well that adorned the shelter's walls. "He heals without the source," she murmured to another, her voice a mix of awe and unease. Nathan worked steadily, treating about 50 villagers over the morning, his bio-bandages sealing infections and his concoctions soothing rashes that had plagued the community. Lyra followed him into the purple forest later, her steps sure as she gathered plants he'd identified as medicinal. Her bravery showed in how she navigated the dense undergrowth, dodging glowing vines that pulsed faintly in the shade. As they worked, she spoke quietly, her voice hesitant. "My sister. She was given to the well, years ago, to pay a debt. It saved my father, but—" She trailed off, her eyes distant. Nathan paused, a root in his hand. "I'm sorry, that's a heavy price. But I think the well's not what you believe. It's not magic. Maybe it's tech, something ancient, using the planet's energy." Lyra didn't reply, but her silence felt like a crack in her resolve. Back in the village, tension flared when an elder stormed into the communal shelter, his cloak sweeping the ground. "Blasphemy!" he barked, pointing at Nathan's kit. "You mocked the source with your star tricks!" Nathan stood, keeping his tone even. "Look at them. They're walking, breathing easier. No one's died for this." The elder faltered as villagers nodded, pointing to healed children now playing by the water channels. The crowd's support, tentative but growing, forced the elder to retreat, muttering under his breath. By evening, Nathan and Lyra sat by a glowing water channel, its surface reflecting the bioluminescent trees. She spoke first, her voice softer now. "I've seen the well save lives, but it always took lives too. If you're right, what does that mean for us?" Nathan handed her a bandage, showing her how to apply it. "It means you can save people yourself. Like this." He guided her hands to wrap a minor cut on a patrol member's arm. Lyra's fingers were steady, her focus intense, and when the warrior thanked her, a spark of pride flickered in her eyes. Their bond grew in that quiet moment, rooted in shared compassion. Nathan taught her basic first aid, explaining how to clean wounds, his words simple but earnest. "You're quick to learn," he said, a half-smile breaking through. Lyra smirked back. "Don't get cocky, Starman." The humor felt natural, easing the weight of the day. She practiced another bandage, her movements more confident, and Nathan saw the shift. She was starting to trust, even if she didn't say it. As recovery spread, the village's mood lightened. Children darted through the paths again, their laughter echoing off stone walls. The ardent council watched from their chamber, their murmurs quieter now, some swayed by the results. Nathan's work chipped away at their rigid stance, hinting at a reform that could upend centuries of blood debts. Lyra stood by the channel after Nathan left, staring at the glowing water, her mind wrestling with her duty and the possibility he'd planted, that healing might not require sacrifice. The purple forest pulsed brighter that night, its light weaving through the village like a promise. Nathan lay in his shelter, planning his next steps. The well's secret nagged at him. Nanobiology tied to the planet's core, he was sure of it. He'd prove it, not just for them, but for himself. Lyra outside adjusted her spear, her thoughts drifting to her sister's loss and Nathan's strange, bloodless ways. The village slept, but change was stirring, quiet and unstoppable. The village woke to a low rumble, a tremor that shook the stone paths and sent glowing leaves drifting from the purple forest. Nathan paused mid-step, his medkit slung over his shoulder as alarms wailed through the air. Lyra, already outside, gripped her spear, her silver hair whipping as she scanned the sky. 3 sleek drop ships broke through the clouds, their engines roaring like thunder over Kheles Mountain. Aegis prospectors. Their hulls glinted with mining drills, sharp and hungry, descending with mechanical precision. Villagers froze, tools clattering to the ground, their green faces paling as memories of past raids on nearby colonies surfaced. Nathan climbed a rocky outcrop, his military instincts kicking in, and surveyed the threat. The prospectors wore heavy metal armor, reflective masks hiding their faces, moving with the cold efficiency of a corporation that saw planets as profit. From the lead ship, a voice boomed over amplified speakers, sharp and emotionless. "We seek the miracle source. Grant access, or we take it." Captain Voran, the name whispered among the villagers, his reputation for stripping worlds bare preceding him. Lyra rallied her warriors, her voice cutting through the panic. "To the paths! We hold the mountain!" Her blue eyes blazed, her light armor creaking as she organized defenses along the winding trails. The Ardent Council convened in their chamber, their mineral cloaks trembling as they argued. "They'll bleed the well dry," one elder hissed, clutching a carved pendant. "Our ancestors fought off worlders before." Another shook her head. "Not like this, not with ships and fire." Nathan stepped forward, his voice steady. "I've seen their kind. They want the well for drugs, credits. We can outsmart them. Buy time." He pulled out his comms gear, battered but functional. "Rig these to mimic voices, old ones, like your legends. Make them think the well's cursed." The elders hesitated, their eyes darting to Lyra, who nodded slowly. "It's worth a try, Starman." They worked fast, blending Nathan's tech with village rituals. Villagers crushed cave minerals, their faint glow perfect for holographic projections, while Nathan tweaked his gear to broadcast eerie warnings. Lyra led him to a hidden alcove, her steps swift through the glowing undergrowth, testing the makeshift translators. Their hands brushed as they adjusted the devices, a fleeting moment of unity. "If this fails," Lyra said, her voice low, "we fight." Nathan met her gaze. "It won't fail. Not yet." Her smirk was faint but real, cocky as ever. From the lead dropship, Captain Voran surveyed the village below, his reflective mask hiding a scowl. To him, this was a backwater, its people primitives guarding a pharmaceutical gold mine. His crew, eager for bonuses, prepped drills and scanners, dismissing the glowing forest as a minor obstacle. "Find the source," he ordered, his voice clipped. "No delays." The prospectors advanced, their boots crunching on stone path, unaware of the trap being set. Nathan and Lyra positioned the translators in the forest, hidden among roots and vines. The devices hummed softly, ready to project voices that would echo the blood debt legend. Lyra's warriors, clad in light armor, moved silently to their posts, ready to amplify the deception with projections. The village held its breath, the air thick with tension as the prospectors' scanning lights swept the purple canopy. Nathan crouched by a device, adjusting its frequency, his fingers steady despite the distant hum of drills. Lyra knelt beside him, her spear at the ready, her eyes scanning for movement. "They're close," she whispered. "Your trick better work." The council watched from their chamber, some clutching sacred carvings, half believing the curse they'd woven into the plan. Others, swayed by Nathan's results with the sick, saw the blend of old lore and new cunning as a desperate necessity. Villagers huddled in shelters, their whispers a mix of fear and hope, their faith in the well shaken but not broken. A child clutched her mother, asking if the starmen would steal their light. The mother shushed her, eyes on the glowing paths outside. As the prospectors neared, Nathan activated the translators. Eerie voices echoed through the forest, low and ancient, warning of eternal curses on those who disturbed the source. The words drawn from council tales carried the weight of centuries. Lyra signaled her team, and holographic figures flickered among the trees, ghostly shapes born from mineral dust and light. The invaders slowed, their scanners faltering, lower ranks muttering about superstitions. Voran's voice crackled over their comms, sharp with irritation. "Keep moving. It's a trick." Nathan adjusted the frequencies, sweat beading on his brow, countering the prospector's jammers. Lyra's warriors sprang traps, vines rigged to trip, stones that rolled underfoot. Non-lethal but enough to spook the advance. The village exhaled as the prospectors pulled back, regrouping under the starry sky. Cheers rose, quiet but fierce, and Lyra turned to Nathan, her green skin flushed with adrenaline. "Not bad, Starman," she said, a rare grin breaking through. He nodded, catching his breath. "Told you. We've got this." But the moment was fleeting. A drone hummed overhead, its scanners locking onto the village's heart. Voron's patience was thinning, and the captured device's data would soon betray their position. The purple forest pulsed, its light a fragile shield against the storm gathering above. Nathan and Lyra exchanged a glance, their alliance solidified but tested as the mountain trembled under the weight of what was to come. Nathan crouched low in the purple forest, his fingers tweaking the translator device hidden among glowing roots. The eerie voices it broadcast echoed through the trees, low and ancient, warning of curses on those who dared disturb the Aegis Well. The words, pulled from the council's tales, carried a chilling weight, amplified by the flickering holograms Lyra's warriors projected, ghostly figures woven from mineral dust and light that danced in the shadows. The prospectors froze mid-step, their heavy armor clanking as they hesitated, their scanners stuttering under the spectral assault. Lower ranks muttered nervously, their reflective masks catching the forest glow, while Captain Voron's voice crackled over their comms, sharp with irritation. "Ignore it! Push forward! It's a ruse!" Lyra knelt beside Nathan, her spear planted in the soft earth, her blue eyes scanning the advancing line of invaders. Her green skin blended with the undergrowth, but her silver hair caught faint glimmers from the trees. "They're not buying it for long," she whispered, her voice tight. Nathan adjusted the frequency, countering the prospector's jammers, sweat beading on his brow. "Just need a bit more time," he said, his tone steady despite the hum of drills growing louder. Their hands brushed as they recalibrated the device, a fleeting connection in the tense air. Lyra's warriors moved silently, triggering traps, vines snapping taut, stones tumbling across paths, non-lethal, but enough to spook the front line into retreating a few steps. In the village, the ardent council huddled in their chamber, their mineral cloaks glinting under the bioluminescent orbs. Some elders clutched sacred carvings, half believing the curse they'd helped craft, their faith in the well's power unshaken. Others, swayed by Nathan's healing, saw the deception as a necessary blend of old lore and new cunning, their murmurs a mix of fear and grudging respect. Outside, villagers crowded into shelters, their whispers heavy with hope and dread. A young boy gripped his father's hand, asking if the ghosts would save them. The father, eyes fixed on the glowing paths, only squeezed tighter, unsure but clinging to the moment's reprieve. Nathan monitored the translators from a hidden ridge, his military training keeping his movements precise. The prospectors' advance slowed, their ranks breaking as lower soldiers hesitated, spooked by the ghostly voices and flickering shapes. Lyra signaled her team, her light armor creaking as she directed another hologram to flare brightly, scattering a patrol. "Nice touch," Nathan muttered, a half-smile breaking through. Lyra's lips twitched. "Don't get used to the praise, Starman." The humor was brief, grounding them both as they braced for the next move. But Voron wasn't fooled for long. From his dropship, he scanned the forest, his reflective mask hiding a scowl as he ordered drones to sweep the mountain. "Find their tricks," he barked, his crew scrambling to recalibrate scanners. To him, the village was a minor obstacle, its well a ticket to billions in pharmaceutical credits. The drones hummed into the night, their red lights slicing through the purple glow, mapping the terrain with ruthless precision. Nathan spotted one hovering too close and grabbed a scavenged EMP device from his kit. "Cover me," he said to Lyra, who nodded, her spear ready as she shadowed him through the undergrowth. They reached a clearing, and Nathan triggered the EMP, a pulse that sent the drone spiraling into a tree with a satisfying crunch. Lyra's eyes widened, impressed despite herself. "Not bad for a healer," she said, her voice low but warm. Nathan grinned, catching his breath. "Stick with me. I'm full of surprises." The moment lightened the weight of the night, their alliance tightening as they ducked back into cover. The deception held, barely. The prospectors pulled back to regroup, their drills silenced for now, and quiet cheers rose from the village shelters. Villagers embraced, their green faces flushed with relief, believing the well's power, or Nathan's cunning, had saved them. Lyra and Nathan returned to the village's edge, standing under the starry sky, the purple forest pulsing softly around them. She turned to him, her green skin catching the light, her voice softer now. "You bought us time, Nathan. Thank you." He nodded, his gaze steady. "We're not done yet. They'll be back." He was right. A captured drone's data, now in Voron's hands, pinpointed the village's heart, its scanners having pierced the holographic veil. The prospectors' ships loomed above, their engines rumbling anew, signaling a shift to aggression. Nathan's jaw tightened as he checked his gear, the translators still humming but their effect waning. Lyra gripped her spear, her blue eyes fierce but trusting, locked on him. "What's next, Starman?" she asked, her tone half challenge, half partnership. Nathan scanned the mountain, his mind racing. The well was the key, but not as a weapon. Its secret lay deeper, in its tech, its purpose. He'd need to protect it and the village, without blood. The forest glow flickered, or as if sensing the storm brewing. Villagers huddled closer, their hope fragile but alive, while the council's murmurs grew urgent, torn between faith and the outsider's strange ways. The mountain trembled faintly, a warning of what was coming, as Nathan and Lyra stood ready, their bond forged in the heat of defiance. The night shattered as plasma cannons roared from the dropships above, their fiery streaks slamming into Kheles Mountain. The ground shook violently, stone paths cracking as glowing leaves rained from the purple forest. Nathan and Lyra sprinted toward the canyon, dodging chunks of rock that tumbled from the cliffs. Villagers scrambled for cover in the water channels, their cries piercing the air as shelters crumbled under the relentless assault. From the huddled masses, elders clutched sacred carvings, their prayers drowned by the thunder of bombardment, their ancient fears realized in the chaos. Children clung to parents, small hands gripping tight, sensing the world they knew unraveling in the dust and noise. Lyra's silver hair caught the flickering light of the forest as she led the way. Her spear clutched tightly, her blue eyes fierce despite the trembling earth. Nathan followed close, his med kit bouncing against his side, his military instinct screaming to find cover, but his resolve pulling him toward the well. The cave entrance loomed ahead, its jagged mouth half collapsed, glowing faintly from within. A blast rocked the path, and Lyra stumbled, a slab of rock pinning her leg. She hissed in pain, her green skin paling as she pushed against the debris. Nathan dropped beside her, his hands digging frantically at the rubble, dirt smearing his torn uniform. "Hold on, I've got you," he said, his voice steady despite the ache in his arms. He freed her, pulling her to her feet, but the cave shook again, dust clouding the air. They stumbled inside, the Aegis Well's iridescent glow flickering erratically, its surface rippling as if in distress. The bombardment's vibrations triggered something. A faint hum grew, and a holographic inscription flickered to life on the cave wall. Nathan froze, eyes locked on the glowing schematics, ancient symbols scrolling alongside diagrams of a nanobiological system. Lyra leaned against him, her leg bloodied but her focus sharp. "What is it?" she asked, her voice hoarse. Nathan traced the projection, his mind racing. "The well, it's not magic, it's tech. Powered by geothermal mineral energy, not blood. The debt's a lie, a mistranslation from ages ago." The inscription laid it bare. The well's nanosystem cycled the planet's core energy, sustaining itself without sacrifice. The blood debt was a misunderstanding, born from ancestors who mistook the system's balance for a demand for life. Nathan's heart pounded. This changed everything. Lyra stared, her blue eyes wide, grappling with the weight of it. Her people had died for nothing, for a myth. The cave shuddered again, rocks cracking above them, and Voron's drills whined closer, their high-pitched screeches echoing through the canyon. Outside, Captain Voron watched from his dropship, his reflective mask hiding a scowl as he ordered another barrage. The village's tricks had cost him time, and his patience was gone. His crew, driven by the promise of profit, pushed their drills harder, breaching the mountain's outer defenses. To them, the well was a fortune waiting to be cracked open, its nano-compounds worth billions. The villagers' resistance was an annoyance, nothing more. Voron's scanners locked onto the cave, and he leaned forward, voice cold. "Tear it down!" Nathan grabbed Lyra's arm, pulling her toward the exit as the cave's ceiling groaned. "We've got proof now," he said, clutching a fragment of the inscription's projector, its faint glow pulsing in his hand. Lyra nodded, wincing but moving fast, her spear left behind in the rubble. They ducked under falling stones, the well's light dimming behind them as the cave began to collapse. A final blast shook the ground and they dove out, rolling onto the canyon floor as the entrance sealed with a deafening crash. They lay there, catching their breath, dust settling around them. Nathan checked Lyra's leg, his hands quick with a bio-bandage from his dwindling supplies. "You'll be okay," he said, his voice soft but firm. She met his gaze, her green skin streaked with dirt, and nodded. "We tell them. The council, the village. They need to know." Her voice carried a new resolve. The weight of her sister's loss, now afire to end the blood debt forever. The bombardment paused, the prospectors assessing the damage, their ships hovering like predators over the scarred mountain. Villagers emerged from the channels, their faces a mix of grief and defiance, some clutching loved ones, others staring at the collapsed cave with hollow eyes. From their scattered perspectives, the world felt broken. Elders mourned the source's loss, while younger ones whispered of the outsider's promises. Nathan and Lyra staggered to their feet, the projector fragment glowing faintly in his hand, a beacon of truth amid the ruin. The purple forest flickered, its light dimmed by dust, but the village still stood, battered yet unbroken. Nathan's mind raced, expose the well's secret, stop the prospectors, save what was left. Lyra gripped his arm, her strength returning, her blue eyes locked on the village square ahead. "Together?" she asked, her voice steady now. Nathan nodded, a grim smile breaking through. "Together." The mountain trembled faintly, the well silent but not gone, its truth now theirs to wield. The prospectors' drills hummed again, a warning of the fight still to come. But Nathan and Lyra moved forward, their bond forged in the chaos, ready to face the council and change everything. Dust hung heavy in the air as Nathan and Lyra staggered from the canyon, the projector fragment glowing faintly in his hand. The bombardment had paused, the drop ships hovering like vultures over the scarred mountain, their engines a low hum. Nathan knelt beside Lyra, his fingers quick as he applied a bio-bandage to her bloodied leg, the last of his supplies sealing the wound. Her green skin was streaked with dirt, but her blue eyes burned with resolve. "We're not done," she said, her voice hoarse but firm, pushing herself up. Nathan nodded, clutching the fragment tighter. "The council needs to see this. Now." They moved toward the village square, the ground still trembling under their feet, the purple forest's glow dimmed by the haze of destruction. Villagers emerged from the water channels, their faces etched with grief and defiance, some cradling loved ones, others staring at the collapsed cave with hollow eyes. The ardent council gathered in the shattered square, their mineral cloaks dusted with rubble, their murmurs tense as Nathan and Lyra approached. Nathan held up the projector, its holographic schematics flickering to life. casting ancient symbols and nanobiological diagrams across the broken stone. "The well's no god," he said, his voice cutting through the crowd's whispers. "It's tech, ancient and advanced. It runs on mineral energy from the planet's core, not blood. Your debt's a lie, a mistake from long ago." Lyra stepped forward, wincing but steady, her silver hair catching the faint light. "I saw it too," she said, her tone fierce yet pleading. "My sister died for this myth. Countless others. We've bled enough." Her words hit the crowd like a shock wave. Villagers exchanging glances, some nodding, others clutching sacred carvings tighter. The elders erupted, one shouting, "Blasphemy! The source demands balance." Another, younger, hesitated, eyes on the hologram. "If he's right, we've been wrong for centuries." The debate grew heated, voices clashing in the smoky air, tradition warring with the evidence before them. From his dropship, Captain Voran watched the chaos below, his reflective mask hiding a scowl. The cave's collapse had thwarted his scans. The well's compounds were now buried, too unstable to extract. His crew muttered about lost profits, their drills idle as he weighed his options. "No value in a broken prize," he growled, ordering a tactical retreat. To him, Kheles was a loss, a backwater not worth the cost. The ship's engines flared, pulling back into the starry sky, leaving the village battered but free. Nathan seized the moment, his voice rising. "We can protect the well, not by fighting, but by shutting it down, hibernating it." He explained his plan. Reverse the geothermal intake, put the nanosystem into a sleep balance, using his comms gear to adjust the energy flow. The elders quieted, some nodding reluctantly, others still clinging to the old ways. Lyra backed him, her presence commanding. "No more lives lost. Let's try his way." They moved to the cave's edge, now a pile of rubble, where Nathan rigged his device to interface with the well's faint energy signature, still pulsing beneath the debris. Together they worked, Nathan's hands steady as he recalibrated the flow. Lyra guarding his flank, her eyes scanning for any returning drones. The well's glow, barely visible through cracks, dimmed peacefully, its nanosystem stabilizing into dormancy. The ground steadied, the air clearing as the village exhaled. Villagers gathered closer, their faces a mix of awe and uncertainty, watching the source they'd revered fade into quiet. The council's eldest woman stepped forward, her cloak trailing dust. "If this holds, we owe you, Starman." Her voice was grudging but sincere. Lyra stood by the rubble, her thoughts turning inward, the weight of her sister's loss now afire for reform. She doubted Nathan, fought him, yet here they stood, rewriting her people's truth. The bond between them felt unbreakable, forged in a shared defiance and hope. She glanced at him, her smirk faint but warm. "You're still cocky," she said, her voice softer now. Nathan chuckled, wiping dirt from his hands. "And you're still stubborn." The prospector's ships vanished into the stars, their threat gone for now. Villagers began salvaging what remained, their green hands sorting through broken stone, their whispers hopeful despite the scars. From an elder's perspective, the shift was jarring. Centuries of certainty crumbled. Yet the sight of children, healed by Nathan's ways, sparked a reluctant hope. The council dispersed, some still muttering of tradition, others ready to listen. Nathan and Lyra lingered by the cave, the projector fragment dark now, its truth delivered. The purple forest flickered faintly, its light struggling through the dust but growing stronger. Nathan scanned the horizon, his mind already turning to what came next. Teaching, rebuilding, unraveling the well's secrets as a partner, not a god. Lyra adjusted her armor, her spear lost, but her purpose was clear. "We're not done, are we?" she asked, her blue eyes meeting his. Nathan shook his head, a spark of determination in his gaze. "Not by a long shot." The village square buzzed with quiet activity, the first steps of recovery taking shape. The well slept, the mountain stood, and the people, though scarred, faced a new path. Nathan and Lyra turned toward the shelters, ready to face the future, their alliance a beacon in the gathering dusk. Dawn broke over Kheles, the purple forest stirring with faint light as villagers emerged from their shelters, their green hands already sorting through the rubble. The ardent council convened in the square, their mineral cloaks dusted but intact, and formally acknowledged the truth Nathan and Lyra had unveiled. "The well sleeps," the eldest woman declared, her voice steady but softened by the night's revelations. "No more rituals of blood. We turn to knowledge, to learning its ways." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd, old rites dissolved in quiet consensus, replaced by plans for communal lessons on the nanosystem science. Villagers nodded, some hesitant, others eager, as they began rebuilding, stone by stone, path by path. Nathan stood among them, his torn uniform a reminder of the chaos, but his eyes clear with purpose. He chose to stay, committing to teach modern medicine from his dwindling kit and scavenged tools. "I'll show you how to heal without the well," he said to a group of young villagers, demonstrating a simple herbal poultice. His focus shifted to the hibernating well too, studying its faint energy pulses as an ecological ally, not a demanding entity. Lyra watched him, her leg bandaged but her step sure, vowing to stand by his side. Her bravery, once tied to guarding secrets, now fueled patrols that protected their newfound knowledge, scouting the forest for threats, ensuring no off-worlder returned unchecked. The community adapted slowly to life without instant healing, learning preventive care through Nathan's lessons and Lyra's guidance. They mixed local herbs with basic alliance tech, brewing remedies that warded off infections before they took hold. Children, once frail under the old ways, now thrived, their laughter echoing as they gathered plants under watchful eyes. The village fostered resilience, groups forming to share skills, their bonds strengthening in the absence of sacrifice. From a reformed elder's perspective, the change stirred mixed emotions. The loss of old certainties ached like a phantom limb. Yet seeing the young ones flourish through cooperation sparked a quiet hope, a warmth that eased the sting. By the quiet canyon, Nathan and Lyra shared moments of dialogue, the rubble a silent witness to their talks. "Scientific truth doesn't erase compassion," Nathan said one evening, staring at the sealed cave. "It builds it. No more trading lives." Lyra leaned against a glowing tree, her silver hair catching the fading light. "We thought the well demanded strength through loss, but this is real balance." Her voice carried a philosophical edge, softened by trust. "You showed us that, Star Mom." Nathan smirked, his hand brushing hers. "We showed each other." The purple forest regrew around the mountain, vines creeping over scars, symbolizing renewal as bioluminescent lights shone brighter without the shadow of war. Nathan researched sustainable ways to awaken the well if needed, tinkering with his gear to map its ties to the planet's ecosystem, ensuring it would serve as a partner, not a master. Villagers joined him, blending alliance tech with local wisdom, forging new traditions, gatherings to share his stories of reform, tools etched with symbols of balance, marking an era of interplanetary harmony. In the end, Nathan and Lyra stood on a ledge overlooking the stars, the village lights twinkling below. They embodied the message that knowledge and empathy could reform even the deepest held beliefs, their gaze upward, ready for whatever came next.